Yo, how's it going, guys? Awesome day here in Leeds. Actually, let me just get this camera straight. I want to talk about talent and the myth around it, because, and I want to throw this out to you guys as well. I want you to let me know what you think in the comments, but I've got some really specific beliefs and experiences about talent and people that may be predisposed to have a natural ability. Let me tell you right off the bat that I do believe that some people do have you know, kind of, you could label it as natural talent. You could label it as that they find it easier than the mere mortals, all right? And I'm sure we've all been in a situation where we've been put up against somebody like that. For me, it was, can you remember like when you were at school doing sports? Can you remember there was that guy that was just a complete disaster at all sports? Well, that was me. I was like ridiculously bad at everything. Football, rugby, tennis, like you name it, I was crap at it. I know, many of you will have had that same experience. Maybe it was with sports, maybe it was with music. But fast forward 25 years on from those school experiences, for me, I can absolutely say without a shadow of a doubt that even if you are not predisposed to be, it doesn't mean that you can't do it, and it doesn't mean that you can't be incredibly good at it either. In fact, it doesn't mean that you can't be world class at it, because you can. Natural talent is such a small piece of the puzzle, and I can say this because I've got direct experience with working with people, my friends, with students who haven't had that natural talent but have put the work in and are at the top of their game. The unfortunate thing is that I see so many students using this talent thing, or what they believe is their lack of talent, as an excuse. They either think that they don't have it, so what's the point in even trying? Or they think that they don't have it and therefore use that as an excuse not to put the work in. In other words, like, what's the point? What's the point in trying hard? What's the point in practicing? Because there's somebody out there that's just more natural at it than I am, and therefore I'm not going to put myself out there and I'm not going to put the work in, because what's the point? I see so many students suffering from this, okay? And it is the wrong attitude, it's the wrong mindset. That mindset will hold you back your entire life, because there's always going to be somebody better. There's always going to be somebody better. There's always going to be somebody more natural than you at whatever you're trying to do. Does that mean that you don't put the work in? Does that mean that you don't try hard? Get rid of that negative mindset. Get rid of it like yesterday. That may seem a little mean, but I just don't want anybody out there doing themselves an injustice and using that as the excuse. If somebody works hard enough and takes responsibility for themselves and takes responsibility for their own progression in whatever they're trying to learn, whether it be an instrument or building a house or being a luthier or whatever it is, okay? If you take responsibility for that and you are proactive in whatever you're trying to develop, nothing can stop you. Absolutely nothing. This whole music thing, this learning thing, it's more about the mind. It's more about your mentality, your mental attitude to life, than it is about being a natural on the instrument. I've taught for years. Professionally, I've taught since I was 17, maybe earlier. And I've worked with a lot of students, right from beginners right through to, I've taught at universities up and down the country, and I've come across a lot of different types of students, okay? I've come across people with natural ability. I've come across those guys and those girls, but I've also come across guys and girls that haven't got maybe that natural ability, but have a really positive mindset and a really great work ethic, and have put the work in and have passed the guys with the natural ability. I've seen this in real life. This isn't fiction. This is, I've seen it. I've worked with the students and seen guys that have got great natural ability fall behind, and the guys and the girls with grit and putting the work in and understanding that it's more a mind game than anything else, pass the guys with natural ability and go on to do great things. In fact, one of my best friends is a guitar player down in he does a lot of the West End shows down in London. He's one of the busiest guitar players on the scene down there. And we used to talk all the time, and he'd come up in conversation and he'd say, I need to put in twice as much work as anybody else because they find things a lot easier than I do. That's what he used to say. He knew, and right from the start, he knew that he had to put more work in than the guys and the girls that were finding it easier. And who's got all the gigs in London now? Who's one of the busiest players down there? He is. Another great example of this is Michael League. I was watching an interview on YouTube actually with him just a few days ago, and in the interview he states when he started music school, which he went to North Texas State, I think, great music school. When he went to music school, he was the worst bass player in the school. Now I have friends that know Mike really well, and I know that his work ethic is ridiculous, like ridiculous. Look at him now. Look what he's done. Look at what he's created. You know, he's one of the most admired bass players on the scene today. He's got amazing ability on the instrument. His composition chops are ridiculous. Again, hard work trumps everything. Another thing that I see time and time again is that when people get successful on their instrument or whatever they're doing, is that people only see the success and they don't see the grit that's gone in beforehand. For instance, I've been working with Adam Neely out in New York. In fact, let me show you some clips of Adam in New York, because he was doing some amazing stuff. Essentially, we've been in New York and recording a course for the membership over at Scott's Bass Lessons, the Academy. Adam brought his friend down, fantastic drummer, and they were doing some crazy stuff. Wicked, right? Well, I want to talk about Adam because if you've been following over the last year, you'll have seen that his YouTube channel is amazing. He is doing some of the most amazing content, I think, out there that any musician is putting online. And I'm absolutely just over the moon that he's going to be involved in Scott's Bass Lessons. I'm really excited about it. So if you're watching this, Adam, more power to you, man. I absolutely love you. Since his YouTube channel has absolutely exploded, I've heard a lot of musicians talking about Adam and saying things like, oh yeah, he's been really lucky with his YouTube channel. But I just want to highlight how much work Adam has put into this channel over the years. Adam started the same time as I did, I think 7 years ago. In fact, let me take a look on here. Okay, so here we've got Adam's first ever video, right, 11 years ago. Then we've got bass chord lesson 9 years ago. And these are lessons, guys, all the way back 7 years ago. Adam's been at it for years. Look at me, same thing. Adam's been at it longer than I have. Where are we? Here we go. 6 years ago, 6 years ago. These are my first ever lessons here. They're hilarious. Obviously my presentation skills have got a little better.
Hi, this is Scott Devine at scottsbasslessons.com. Check out my site for other tutorials and stuff like that. a couple of my students have been pestering me to transcribe
a couple of my students have been pestering me. Smooth divine. My point is, guys, that there's just such a huge amount of work gone in here, gone into Adam's channel, and the same thing is true with people's playing. It's so easy to see somebody play and just think, oh right, yeah, oh yeah, they just got, you know, they're just great, and it just comes to them so easy. You don't see the hours of work, the days, the weeks, the months, the years, the thousands of hours that have gone into making them the musician they are today, or in Adam's case, building the YouTube channel he has. Anyway guys, I want to hear what you think about it. What are your experiences with talent? Have you kind of put yourself off in the past, or are you one of the guys or the girls that are digging in, and even though you might not have as much natural ability as somebody else, are you going to put the work in that it takes? Are you going to be one of the guys or the girls that dig in and just make it happen for yourself? In a nutshell, guys, hard work, dedication, and a true passion for what you do trump absolutely everything.